Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, experimenting with that regulated 12-volt power supply and running it with the LED light controller. This is that 495 remote that I picked up a couple weeks ago. This is what started all the experiments. Anyway, running on this regulated power supply, this actually works quite well, as you see. I have full control of the Lionel General. Slow it down, speed it up. Runs really well for this application. So I might leave this hooked up to this rail. That'll give me two working remotes. This one on the outside rail, that one on the inside rail. As you see, it works for this, no problem at all. So I have full control of the General. Power off, power on, speed up. As you see, speed down, and power off. So anyway, for this application, it works quite well. So I don't have the diode hooked on, but I do have the fuse. So anyway, running on this regulated 12-volt power supply, this actually works quite well for this application. It's just really limited. It's really sensitive to glitching, so I can't run a Marx locomotive unless I have a diode installed on the power line. But like I said, for the General, the standard Lionel locomotives, anything that doesn't have an E-unit, a standard E-unit. But in this case, for this application, it works quite well. No problem at all. Like I said, this thing's been sitting in the garage for the last 5 years. And since this thing is so sensitive to voltage spikes, it needs a regulated power supply to run it, or a battery, of course. But in this case, it runs really, really well, as you see. Power up, power down, and power off. So, in any case, like I said, it gives me two working remotes. This one's pretty limited. You can't run a Marx locomotive on it with a working E-unit unless you have a diode installed to block the pulses coming off of the E-unit when it cycles. But for the Lionel General, it actually works quite well. And I've tested all the Lionel forward-only engines, and the manual E-units work perfectly. So no problem with them at all. So I may just leave this hooked up to the outside rail, or the inside rail. It works for this, no problem at all. It actually works quite well for this, as you see. So we'll see, just continuing my experiments. You know, I've gone through 4 of these things now, and this is the last one. So if this one burns up, that'll be the end of even using these things. This one, on the other hand, works perfectly. This is powering AC. This only works with DC. It's an LED light controller. But for this application, forward-only locomotives and manual E-units, it works just fine. You can run Marx on it, but you have to install a diode to block the pulses coming off of the E-unit when it cycles. And you have to have a fuse installed in case you derail the train and short the track. Anything like that will just blow this thing up. You see how small it is. Little tiny, tiny controller. This is the entire circuit board right there. So since I had this regulated 12-volt power supply, figured why not hook it up and go ahead and run it. So for the Lionel General, it actually works really well, as you see. Power up, power down, and I'll bring it up a bit, and power off. So just want to do a quick video on this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.